I'm just sipping on some tea. Some good tea. I'm not going to be too mean, but hey, everybody, I'm Cortes, and I'm a critic, and welcome back. We are continuing our NFL 2024 recap, and we're talking about the worst, the suckiest, the losers of the NFL, and it goes to the volunteer state. We're talking about them Titans. Remember the Titans because it sucked. The season was abysmal. The season was bad. They're terrible. They're bad. So let's make fun of them. I mean, talk about them. All right, the Tennessee Titans have the #1 pick in the draft. Let's not bury the lead. They were terrible. They were dumb. It made mayonnaise not considered a favorable condiment for a whole year. Thank you, Will Levis. So Tennessee Titans are the #1 pick team. I had them at a 7-10 win season. At worst, 5-12. Oh, lo and behold, they went 3-14. I couldn't even give them a leg to stand on how bad they were. And the Tennessee, I think, very similar to what happened with Lovie Smith in Chicago, where Lovie Smith had a 10-win season and then they just kicked him out. I think them firing Mike Vrabel was like the signal flare in the sky that's saying that Tennessee is on a downhill spiral to chaos. I mean, Mike Vrabel was one of the top coaches candidate this year, and the only reason why he basically came back was that New England job was going to be open. Sorry, Mayo. Mayo. Fuck my world. So, I think that was a sign. Them letting Derrick Henry go, I think, was just like, yeah, it was coming. It was coming. I'm sure Tennessee probably wanted some more capital to go with that Derrick Henry. You know, let go, transition, trade, whatever they wanted to do with him, but it didn't go in their favor. So that's another thing that I botched. Will Levis was a quarterback that was highly praised coming out of college, out of Kentucky, and I guess it didn't show. I think he's only famous for his mayo and coffee. I like mayo, just a touch of my tuna fish sandwiches, nothing too crazy, a little bit of onion, delicious. But mayo in my coffee is like, very gross, very, very gross. So, could Will Levis still save his career? I don't know. And that's the big thing. What I think, it sucks to be a young quarterback, not even 3 years into your league, and basically your team that you were supposed to be the reason, like, quarterback for young rookies or young player within their rookie contracts should be the one where it's like, for the next 3 to 4 years during your rookie contracts, we shouldn't have to worry about this position. But now we got to worry about this position again, and we got the #1 pick, and some of the picks may not be like, eh. I mean, maybe they'll trade it. I don't know. Tennessee is really bad. It's really bad. But let's talk about the benefits. Let's talk about the benefits of not being too bad. So let's talk about your best game. And let's be real, your best game took place week 12 at the Houston Texans. It was the one game midway through the season. I mean, you guys were still 3-8 at the time, but you beat the Texans in Houston. You showed promise. You showed like, okay, this team can win. My only question was you can't play the Texans every week. But also, this time I felt more bad like the Texans. What happened? You let Tennessee get a win on you, and you guys were at home. This game was just a typical division game. We all have seen division foes where sometimes a team that has like 2 wins and like 14 losses, they will beat the 13-win team. We have seen it. It happens all the time. Division foes, you take their records and say, basically take everything out except the player they have on the field and say, watch what happens. We have seen it week in, week out, season in, season out. We have seen it every single season, especially when it comes to the NFL. Hockey, baseball, basketball, I don't probably see it as much. But football, for some reason, it's just a sense of like, I'm going to beat you because we're rivals. So that's another reason why I probably get this. And it was the game that made you feel like, They're not quitting. I mean, 3-8 is still not good. I mean, basically, you got to be perfect, and I think no one even thought, even remotely, that we're going to win the next half of the next final games at that time anyway. So it was more of a, well, at least they're not quitting. And that's all you can say sometimes in the league of football. You just have to play the week to week, and sometimes the seasons don't fall your way. And basically, it comes a case of, do I have pride, or do I making a business decision about my future? So it's a very positive show that they did not quit. Your worst game. And it's the worst game for the reason of just being, you could have won. Week 14 versus Jacksonville, 10-6. What happened? What happened that weekend? I remember looking at the scorecard as I watched other games that apparently were more important that weekend, and seeing that it's 3-0, 3-0, 6-0. And I'm saying to myself, oh my God, we got a field goal game. And it's a field goal game that will lead to a shutout. Now, those games I always find interesting because always that case of like, what happened to lead to that? I mean, I have seen my share of game where a team wins 15-0. They got 5 field goals, they win it. I've seen it. We've seen, 9 threes. I've seen 12 nines. I've seen tons of field goal games where basically it was literally football as the person that kicks the ball scores the points. So it was really the football of football. But then seeing 10-6, I have seen my share of 10-6. I've seen my share of 10 threes, where basically you're thinking, wow, everybody must have the flu. Everybody must have a stomach illness or something. It was bad. But seeing that all 10 of those points were Tennessee scored in the fourth quarter. I mean, for Jacksonville, pardon me, in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was 6-3 in the fourth. So this still could have been a field goal game. But then Tennessee gave up an 81-yard drive and lost at 10-6. So looking at the stats, 291 to 272 in Jacksonville's favor. Jacksonville had 2 turnovers. Tennessee had the higher time of possession, 17 to 16 on first downs. Very even. This was a game of just execution. Both ended the game with a record of 3-10. So technically, these two teams at this point were competing for the number 1 pick. And the thing is that I feel like if Jacksonville would have gotten the number 1 pick, I don't think the quarterback question would have been like, are they going to get Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter? I think we all can safely say that. But to me, this was bad. At one, you guys were at home, so you couldn't even give your fans a win against a very bad Jacksonville team, division foe. You could have got that, Merry Christmas kind of cheer for us fans. But it was just like, man, you kind of feel bad for that one fan that only got 1 ticket a year, and he got that ticket to the Jacksonville game, and he's like, all right, Tennessee, Jacksonville, cool. And he's like, yeah, maybe next time just give me preseason tickets. Might be more interesting. But this was bad. It was a bad game. Bad. It was poor. It was bad. It was disgusting. Yuck. And what makes it more of a segue of yuck for the fans is the Tennessee Titans MVP are the fans. Now you may think, that's kind of a dick move. I'm like, okay, then you Tennessee fans, especially the Tennessee fans out there, you tell me, who do you think deserves to be viewed as the MVP? And by MVP, I mean not just statistically the best person, but like, who do you think that you can say, if you had a trophy to give, voted by the fans to give to your franchise, your team, who gets it? Will Levis had barely 2,000 yards passing, and he played in 12 games. He was 13 of 12, 13 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Maybe give it to Tony Pollard, who had his first 1,000-yard season. And yeah, he played in 16 games, averaged 2 points. You can probably do that. It's like, yeah, you can probably do that. But, you're thinking, well, we kind of expected him to do it. So 1,000 yards. And 1,000 yards is not, I mean, if it was like 1,300, 1,400, maybe I'll give you that. Calvin Ridley, he had 1,000 yards. You know, you can do that. Hell, both your running backs and your receivers had 1,000 yards. They maybe been co-MVP. But Ridley is a receiver that felt like, yeah, he's supposed to get that. Pollard, probably supposed. He's the reason why we got him out of Dallas is because he wants to be the guy, and we made him the guy. We even sent King Henry goodbye to make you the guy. But did any of these guys really help the team to avoid what? A 3-win season? Really? MVP has to be able to be so impactful to the team that his one individual effort catapults a team to a more positive outcome. That's why most MVPs are given to running backs and quarterbacks, because their passing and rushing yards dictate the offense success, which could lead to more points and therefore help the defense out not having to play too much, because the offense scoring plenty of points, the defense doesn't have to be the savior. And sometimes some defensive player plays so well, they're named MVP. Either they got multiple sacks, they get a lot of interceptions, whatever. It happens for MVP, that their defense is so good that one player would cause so much havoc. And some players on this channel do have defensive MVPs as the MVP, and some you might already predict. So to me, it's the fans. I always give it more so to the number one overall pick teams to the fans, because these are the fan base that spend money, time out of the day, stress, frustrations to basically go on Sunday, Thursday, or Monday night game if they're at home to watch their favorite team play and more than likely embarrass themselves. And then they have to go back home and hope to God not punch a hole in the wall and be like, wow, I spent, $70, $80 for this game. I got drunk. I got to go to work tomorrow. I got to deal with my kids. I got to deal with my wife or my husband. And for the love of God, can Tennessee Titans just give me a win so at least I can have a smile on my face, for the week? No, you don't. But that's why for the fans that, especially the ones that go in like week in and week out, and those that do make the travel with it too, you guys deserve this trophy as being the MVP, because you're the reason why this franchise exists. You're the reason why this franchise is successful. You're the reasons. And I'm not a Tennessee Titan fan in that regard, even though I do love the Knoxville area of Tennessee. I'm more a volunteer kind of guy. You deserve this more than the players. No disrespect to the players, but they make hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. Some of you guys probably don't make that much, and you deserve some happiness once a week. So, Tennessee fans, my MVP trophy to you. Before we get to the draft picks, let's just get out of the way. The season was a failure. You got the number one pick. Your MVP is not a player. You guys are the worst. Worse. And it might even go up to all the way up to the freaking leadership, the front office, ownership, general manager. I might go up to the top because you guys were so bad. I said earlier, the Vrabel departure was a bad idea. You guys traded Snead from Kansas City, and I didn't see him do a thing. Like, seriously, when I was reviewing this video, I forgot he was on the team. To the point where it's like, did we make a bad deal? Did we make a bad deal? What the hell? And you guys are talking about a brand new stadium for a losing team? I don't know, guys. I don't know. This is not good. But failure. You got a big fat F for failure. That's how bad the season was. Now let's talk about some optimistic positives. I gotta give the Tennessee fans who have been dealing with this abusive conversation for too long. Let's talk about your potential draft candidates. And like I said, no real in particular order. Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. If you guys, because like I said, we're recording this midway through March. So I haven't heard a lot of noise about Tennessee getting some, some players actually left Tennessee. But my question is, do you give Will Levis another chance and try to build someone with a little bit more guarantee in Abdul Carter? Do you get Travis Hunter, the two-way player that probably could help Will Levis and the defense at the same time, plus it get you some jersey sales? Or you go Cam Ward and thinking, well, he's the best quarterback, and you're just hoping that his success in Miami was enough to probably dictate him to become the starting quarterback. It's a big gamble. Do you go? Personally, I'm more on the side of Abdul Carter. We've seen what TJ Watt has done. We see what Micah Parsons has done as a disruptor on the defense that basically helps carry the team better because he keeps sacking Cord, therefore his secondary doesn't have to worry about covering that long. I get understand the injuries becomes a question. Travis Hunter is a question of whether you're going to utilize him as a both-way player or you're going to hinder him. And Cam Ward's a quarterback, which whether he is Andrew Luck or Geno Smith, there's still that notion of you're still risking on taking a quarterback, regardless of it's Purdy, Geno, Baker, Ryan Lee, Jamarcus Russell, whatever. There's still that risk and how desperate you are. So either one of these picks would not be surprised. Now, it would surprise me if they trade it or they get someone that's not on this list. Like they get Shedeur Sanders out of nowhere. I'd be like, oh, okay. Not saying it's not going to happen, but I'm just feeling like Cam Ward probably the one quarterback going first. So that is the Tennessee Titans, a season of failures. Okay, I'll be nice. Now we're going to talk to two teams that are left that may have potential for a more positive video. Probably not. But before we get to them, like I said, division foes get the pass, they get the best for last. So we're going to talk about the Indianapolis Colts, who are going through a wow moment. And very much like Tennessee, they are making regrettable decisions that are haunting from their past. So next time will be the Colts. And until then, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching.